3, 2, 1. Hey, it's Wild Josh, and I am joined by Chase, Ezra, and Joa, and we're here to talk about The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Episode 1. Now, let's get geeky. So, finally, the day had arrived this past Friday. Pretty excited. I looked at the runtime. I was excited. 50 minutes, and I'm thinking probably 20 of it is credits, and only I think 6 minutes of it was credits. So that means we got almost 45 minutes of this, which was pretty exciting. But let's get into our initial thoughts right away. Who wants to go first? Chase, you want to tell us what you thought? Yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Thinking about it, I want to say I'm a real sucker for that kind of storyline where somebody who's like getting over their past mistakes or like getting over some insecurity or whatever, like he's got something wrong with his head, like he was brainwashed.
Oof.
You're that guy.
You're like, can I get a picture with you?
I'm going to deny your loan, but I want a picture with you first.
What a guy. I mean, I
Yeah,
know
no
it's not
kidding.
really him that actually declines the loan. It's the back office, and he knows, like, yeah, you're just not going to get it. So it's not actually, but that just, I mean, come on, man. Like, you're not going to get a picture.
You're trying to give him bad news, and it's like, hey, picture.
Well, true. Well, it definitely wasn't a realistic
more money.
visit because it's a movie, and but whatever. What But you, like, if someone had such low income and such low credit score, you wouldn't just be like, yeah, you can't get that amount. Like, because
Yeah.
you have a calculator. I mean, yeah. The background. Yeah. Well, I think I think for it being a movie, like, it was pretty realistic, but I don't think they could have done that whole thing. But, like, because you're in the bank for hours when you get a loan, and it's not just that. Like, you go to the bank, you apply, you go away, or like if you're buying a vehicle, you go away, get like all the stuff you need, you come back, you go away, you come back, like you make 50 trips to the bank. But anyway, what I was trying to say is, like, that's a sizable amount of money that he would have needed because they're fixing a boat and
And
trying to.
oh,
I can hear you fine.
That would
I'm
suck.
here fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I don't know why they wouldn't be able to hear you because we can hear you, and it's just pulling from.
I mean, we're just
Yeah,
talking
you're
about banking,
muted.
really.
Cool. Well, can I do my hot take while?
Go for it.
Okay. So Chase said, why can't this just be The Winter Soldier, and I want to say, why can't this just be a movie?
Sorry, Chase is working on his audio issue. We're gonna kind of continue while he does that. So I agree. I thought this whole thing was set up, and the feel of it, it wasn't like like there were parts that were really really fast paced, obviously, but there was parts where it was really slow and like it was like building stuff like a movie would, which I
Yeah.
thought was cool.
So
even though I know the Falcon stuff, it was probably not the most exciting part when he's just dealing with his family and dealing with the bank, but it did set up nicely for the story, I think.
So that's the difference. So for me, like this didn't feel like a pilot episode. You know, it felt like the first half of the first act of a movie. It was all basically set up. There was some action, but like there usually is with a superhero movie, you get that like Captain Winter Soldier, for example. I think it's Winter Soldier. Cap goes and fights those people on the boat. One of them happens to be a guy that we saw in the show, right? Or that we will see. Anyway, doesn't matter. But that's like literally the first 5 minutes is him kicking butt. And then after that, it's all set up for the rest of the plot. Whereas like in a TV show, yes, there's a little bit of setup, but like the way they do it is in the pilot episode, it's set up and then action and then conclusion, right? Like how a whole movie is, but it's in one episode and they don't have to explain the entire thing because next episode we're going to get more setup and then episode after that. So that's what I was trying to say last week when I, and people criticized me for saying that it should just be a movie and not a TV show, is that it's a mini series. So it's going to be basically a movie. And I'd rather just get that all at once. It's not because I'm impatient. It's just because it's not like, stop pretending it's a television show. Like for a television show is supposed to have that conclusion at the end, at least for that episode, that wraps up things from that episode so that you feel satisfied at the end and you still look forward to next week. I didn't feel any satisfaction at the end of it. Like, oh, something happened in this episode. Nothing really happened. It was just set up. And I hate that. Like, I would so much rather just watch a movie than a miniseries. Even if the movie's 4 hours long, I'd so much rather do that.
So you weren't really a fan of this episode, is what you're saying? You thought there's too much setup?
I think I'm going to be a fan of the show overall. I liked where they're going with it. I liked all of the plot points that they set up. It's just, I don't want a whole watching session to be, it's not even like I don't want a whole 45 minutes to be set up. It's just a whole watching session. So it's okay. So I don't want a whole sit down and watch a TV show session to be all set up all the time and like barely any like substance or other than setting up for later. I hate that. I think it's dumb.
Yeah.
And WandaVision wasn't like that, I feel like. Even the first episode was...
Well, there was shorter episodes too, though.
There were shorter episodes. But like the first episode didn't really set anything up per se, other than the fact that it was going to be kind of like a sitcom. But it was, because it was like in a sitcom format, it was already in a format that works for TV, in my opinion.
Right.
So it worked. There was like,
and every episode also like
every episode
was like self-contained as well.
Exactly. Every episode told a specific story. It wasn't the whole story of the entire series, but it was the story for that. Can you not listen to that out on your phone? You did not. You're using the wrong microphone. You've been doing it for days.
Oh, you know what? Oh, that might be it.
Your microphone has sounded different for a couple days now, and I said it on the first. I did, and you were like, "No, it's fine." Yes, I did. The first. No. Well, I thought it was my headphones, but I'm convinced that it's not my headphones. It's your
Geek-Cetera, we're professional.
Oh, I can see your Discord now.
Yeah. What happened?
That sounds better.
Can we hear Chase on stream now is the question.
Screen now that I'm not in Discord. All right. I'm so very well put together. So I was like, why the heck can you hear me? I'm so sorry now. Oh God. Um. Mhm.
Did you fix it?
I don't know.
check that
You're good.
check that the
Yay!
stream is using the
Oh,
right.
jeez.
Okay, good.
I just tore my phone out of my computer. All right. Sorry.
Oh boy.
Where were
Yeah,
we?
They can hear him. Okay, they can hear him.
I don't know. I think my point was done or
Yeah.
overshadowed by
I'm
technical
sorry.
difficulties. It's okay.
I actually didn't mind the setup of this episode. I would get sick of it if it continued for the next 5 episodes to be that kind of slow and drawn out. But I think they just wanted to do that this one episode.
Well,
I'd be
here's
surprised.
the thing, Josh. What is Sam gonna do next episode?
That is going to be a good question because I can't
Because-
imagine he's going to stay fishing and trying to get his family's house back.
Yeah, so
Oh.
essentially what we're gonna have next episode is or setup, because nothing really was actually established. Like, what are our heroes actually going to be doing next episode? We don't know.
Well,
Yeah.
well
So
I
therefore,
don't know
there
about
has
that
to be more
because they ended with the whole drop the bomb moment where there's a new Captain America or someone with Cap's shield dressed in
So-
the Cap. So I have
but
a
they
feeling
didn't-
that
they didn't
that's gonna
tell us-
divert his attention.
They didn't tell us what they're going to do about it. They didn't
Yeah.
tell us what
They left it
the
up here.
new Cap is going to do. They didn't tell us what Bucky's going to do. Like, they didn't really actually set anything up for next episode in particular. It's the Flag Smashers, the only thing I can think.
Mhm.
Like, Sam gets called in to deal with the Flag Smashers. But regardless, I think even if they do that, there still needs to be more explanation or exposition before they actually do that.
I did think it was odd that
So-
that they didn't really set up for a great transition so far between. It sounds like Sam's home for good now, or going to be home for a while, and then obviously he can't be home for 5 episodes because what the heck would the show be? Just him fishing?
Yeah.
That
So
could-
I'd like to actually retract my statement. This whole episode wasn't really set up. It was more just backstory and filling in for what happened since Endgame. Not really actually set up, because I guess there's nothing. We don't really know what they're gonna do next episode, so therefore it's not really set up what they're gonna do.
It's interesting though because it started off like a million miles a minute.
Oh yeah,
With that flight, him
Mhm.
flying and a million helicopters coming after him. And
I do want to say, would you have preferred it?
yeah,
Would you have preferred it if all of this episode was strewn out, as little snippets between the rest of the episodes, going forward? If they had this entire episode
or flashbacks rather.
as flashbacks, would you prefer that, or would that be too cliche?
I'll
I don't know.
counter what you're saying. I would have preferred it to be a movie. Because if you do the whole thing, and there's so many edits they could do to cut it down to movie length, right? But if you do the whole thing as a movie, I don't care that I'm sitting there for 30 minutes for backstory and then another 15 for setup, because I'm still sitting there for another hour of actual movie. I don't want to sit there and only watch backstory or only watch setup. So I would have preferred it to be a movie. It's not that
Well,
I
I
hate
mean, I would
television,
be
because I
surprised.
love television. I
Right.
loved WandaVision up until the end, but
Yeah.
I'd rather just it be a movie. It's written like a movie. It should be a movie.
What did you guys think of the choreography and just the action sequence at the very beginning? It was making me a little
It was too much.
motion sick.
Yeah, it was too much.
It was kind of dumb. Why do they have 5 different helicopters that
I
are
wanna-
all flying
that's-
at the same speed, right next to each other? What?
Yeah.
I remember seeing a video a while back on why aerial combat in action scenes is a bad thing. It's because there is no force behind the impact. It's you don't have any feeling of what that's like. These characters are somewhat in free fall or in flight, and you don't really know is that punch grounded from the from your back foot like it would be on the ground, or is that momentum that's pushing that? These characters are kind of traveling at the same speed, so is it really just the weight of the arm? There is no.
That is a good point. Because from a physics standpoint, how do you punch someone because when you punch someone, you know ground your foot and you push yourself off of the ground.
Ezra has been in several fights.
So many fights.
Slap
Oh,
fight.
yeah.
No, I just know simple physics. Like,
Yeah, I know.
you need to be pushing up against something to get any power.
Mhm.
So, and usually that's the ground. Like, you can't. So unless you're grabbing the person and pulling your fist like to your other, you know, like that could work. But you can't like just be falling and punch them. Like it would have no power. It'd be like
it would be off of just your muscle power, and unless you were extremely well built,
well,
you probably wouldn't be doing much damage.
What would happen is not only so your force that you put into the punch is halved because half of it is going into him and half of it is bouncing you away. Instead of when you're grounded, you're not moving. You punch someone, the full force of that punch goes. So you're cutting the potential energy in half because you're enacting energy on yourself and on him. So it doesn't really work.
Physics lessons with Geek-Cetera.
Yeah. So that's exactly my point, though. Is that's why that's why with aerial combat in like fight scenes like that, you tend to always come out of it like that was kind of underwhelming.
Yeah.
You know, like
I just felt like there was too much going on.
So much going on,
making me a little motion sick.
And the way that Ezra was explaining it to me when we were talking the other day, he's like, you know, if you think about it, helicopters don't move that fast. Like what? They maybe max out at like 150 if you're like flying that thing. But it was like they went from one helicopter to another to another. So like they just kept like hiding it behind the mountain. Like, okay, this is our backup helicopter in case something happens to our previous backup helicopter, which is there if something happened to our backup helicopter for the main helicopter. Like,
So, like,
we strategically picked these mountain ranges so we could hide helicopters.
Yeah. If you're in a dogfight, right, like with airplanes, you're mostly in one area, so reinforcements can come in because you're not moving. But these helicopters are going in a straight line. So in order for another helicopter to show up, it would have to be like going way faster than the first helicopter, which isn't possible because they have the same top speed. So like, where are these? Like, how do they not know that? There's 4 helicopters. Let's just shoot all of them, or like whatever. Like, why? Where are they coming from? They're just warping in. They're just like FTL drives activate.
What if it was like a cut scene, like how they're all the terrorists or whatever are talking to each other? Okay, we need to have like a fleet of 50 helicopters all flying at once, all constantly shuffling, so that they can't tell which one the hostage is on. And then it got like messed up.
So you're
like,
gonna do shell game with helicopters?
Yeah, easy.
My problem with that is like, first of all, that's a ridiculous plan, and second of all, the people on the ground talking to Sam would know that there's 5 helicopters in the sky. But that was never mentioned. It was just like, there's another helicopter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true, because they were looking at their like pad, they're like, oh, you're 2 seconds from the Serbian border. Like,
they knew every detail about that helicopter traveling. So why would they not know about the other helicopter? Like, how would they?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Oh, just another coincidental helicopter flying on that same exact route at the same exact time has nothing to do with what we're doing right now.
No, the more compelling action scene I thought was the Bucky one, even though it was like it was super.
Oh,
it was
when he was Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Yeah. That story I really found compelling. I mean, obviously, like you guys, I really like the story around Bucky better than I did around Sam. But I just love that way that he was like, I'm like, why is he hanging out with this old dude? You know, like it's a little strange because he's just talking to his therapist and she's like, you have no friends, and then all of a sudden he's got a friend.
Yeah.
And then, I put it together, and I'm like, oh, this is the guy's father.
Yep.
Well, the other thing too is she.
Oh, that was so good. It like tore my heart out at the like. It was great.
Yeah.
Great storytelling.
The thing too, though, like, how did she tell that he had no friends?
No contact information on his phone.
Right.
Yeah. No replies.
So, do you think he talks to this guy through text?
No,
he's an old guy. Yeah.
He's an old guy.
They have a routine, like same as next Wednesday or whatever he said.
Yeah, right.
Like,
She just thinks he doesn't have any friends because she thinks he's gonna make friends like his age.
Right.
106 years old? That's pretty hard.
Well, that's. I mean,
he had Steve, and Steve is gone.
Good point.
He did
Yeah.
make friends his age. I mean, that guy was probably not in 106,
Yeah.
but he was a lot closer to his actual
No, that's
age,
actually
so-
a really good point that he would have a lot more in common with that old man than we think
Yeah.
because
I-
they grew up
it's
during the
funny.
same time period. That's
I
actually
was
a
thinking
really
the
good
exact
point.
same thing during the show. I just didn't think
That's
to mention
why-
it now.
Yeah.
It didn't really strike me as odd that he's hanging out with this old guy. I'm like, yeah, he's 106. Of course he's hanging out with this old guy.
Mhm.
Like they have so much more in common.
Yeah.
It's funny when I first saw that guy. I forget what his name is. But whatever. When I first saw that guy, I was like, is that one of like his friends from the soldier unit he was in, or the troop he was in? Like, was this one of those guys who just grew up like?
Mhm.
Yeah, I would say no because Bucky was still young when he joined the military. So all his friends and he quote unquote died when he was captured by Hydra was still pretty early in his military career. So he probably wouldn't have met too many of the recruits that were brand new that would be, in their late 80s, early 90s today.
Mm.
So, because that's still 10 years, and he wasn't in the military for 10 years. So, but still, it's somebody who grew up around the same time period as him, who grew up during that war that Bucky fought in. So, yeah.
But what else is there to talk about on this one?
Give me more Bucky.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I think we all agree there.
Yeah.
I
What
will
you guys
say.
think about Batroc, the Leaper,
Who?
What?
I think he's the French guy.
the French guy.
French
yeah.
guy?
I know Kyle was hoping that he was going to be really campy. I don't think he was. I don't know how Kyle feels about the way he was portrayed, but he definitely didn't die. I don't think out of all those guys that he fought in there, he's one that sailed away in his little flying squirrel suit and probably will reappear. I'm guessing.
Yeah. Oh,
Was
so
he one of those guys with the wingsuit?
Yeah.
so I was
Main
right.
one,
That was the guy that Captain America fought in Winter Soldier on the first action scene, the opening action scene.
Yes.
Huh.
Yeah, they brought him back.
They brought him back. He's pretty cool. I guess he's pretty cool. He's cooler in the comics, I think,
Yeah.
because they haven't really developed him at all.
No
in-
memory of this.
So
Do you remember when they're on the boat?
Oh, sorry.
Remember when they're on the boat in Winter Soldier and they're fighting all the guys? The very, very first scene.
Yeah.
I would need to rewatch Winter Soldier.
They jump, Black Widow's talking to him and telling him he needs to go on some dates or whatever,
Mhm.
and they jump out of the helicopter and they start beating people up.
Yeah,
Yeah. on
But
the-
he fights that guy.
interesting. Okay.
He's wearing all purple with a yellow stripe down the front and back.
I wanna ask real quick. What is that guy's superpower? Batroc the Leapers. Does he have any powers or anything? Or is he in the MCU? He just jumps.
That's his thing, man. He's like an athlete.
The
So in the
extreme basketball
MCU
player.
So in the MCU, his entire thing is the wingsuit at this point. I'm guessing.
No.
I'm
Okay.
his entire
I don't think he had a wingsuit in the first one.
No, he didn't. But for this, it seems like he's just a thug.
Okay, yeah, but Joa, what is Bucky's powers?
He's the
He
super.
punches
you get,
really hard.
He has the
punches
superhero
really
serum.
hard.
He has the same
That's what I
serum
was
that
about to
Cap
say.
does.
So, super soldier
So he-
serum.
Yeah.
So he punches really hard.
And
Yeah.
he has
Essentially-
heightened
essentially-
reactions and
and-
increased speed and better regenerative
Yeah.
properties.
So essentially, this guy has speed and he jumps really high and he punches pretty hard.
So you're saying that if he and Captain America were both in the Olympics, that Captain America would get disqualified for using steroids?
Yes, 100%. He would not qualify. Not steroids, but definitely performance.
PEDs.
Yeah.
Um,
So yes, actually, this is an instance, Joe, where Batroc the Leaper would beat Captain America in an Olympic event.
I was thinking, wouldn't it be way cooler if he was Batroc the Leper?
And he had,
Unclean,
No.
unclean.
his superpower is he just gives people diseases.
I mean,
I mean,
in the age today, know.
I always heard that like people with leprosy, like didn't they like lose limbs or something occasionally? Like that
You can, like,
DC's got
fling
that
fingers
superhero
at people.
down already. DC's got that superhero down. Arm fall off boy.
Oh right, yeah.
So I'm trying to think of what else there was in this episode that I really liked. I guess there's not much more to talk about besides John Walker, who is, I guess, possibly a U.S. agent, possibly the new Captain America. What did you guys think of that look, that shot we got of him? I thought he looked completely doofy.
Yeah, no.
Like, maybe that was the plan, but if that guy is really the next Cap, I don't know.
It's really weird to me that like they make a whole big deal about Sam turning in Cap's shield. And then they just instantly like, oh yeah, we're gonna put it in this exhibit for like about 2-3 minutes, and then we're gonna hand it off to some other dude who does nothing to earn it. Like,
They should have, like,
if
put it
anything,
in. We're
Cap
putting it
gave
in,
that
and then
shield
it's
to
like,
Sam,
here.
so like,
So, are you guys getting Jim Halpert vibes too? I don't know why. He just
he
like
looks familiar. I know this
Yes.
actor from somewhere.
same.
Like, where is he from?
It's not.
It better
I know
not
it's
be
not Jim Halpert.
He's gonna be Reed Richards.
Yeah, maybe. What is the show called? Falcon.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yep, that one. Good one.
I want to check this out.
I wasn't really familiar with that actor.
Wyatt Russell. He does look really goofy.
Yeah.
Wyatt Russell.
Yeah, I don't
What's
know that
Wyatt
he's
Russell
anything
in?
you've watched. Doesn't matter. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'd like to say, ask, do you think he has some like super soldier serum?
I don't know.
So, it makes me think of in Agents of Shield, the director, was it Director Mason, whatever his face was? They like faked that he was an Inhuman, basically by giving him a super soldier serum, but because those original experiments had been ruined, it like was only temporary. It didn't last for that long.
Did he have to keep injecting himself?
Yeah, basically he just became a drug addict where he was shooting up every 12 hours. Like, so is
Right,
this the same thing, or are they going to say that, they have rebuilt a super soldier serum?
I would actually really like that if they did the exact same thing.
Like,
Because that would validate
Yeah.
Agents of Shields.
Well, I mean, yeah, as opposed to what WandaVision
did
yeah.
with like completely redesigning what the Darkhold looks like.
Yeah.
Being like, oh, it's
throwing it away, yeah. But
yeah.
it was interesting because then it became a point where the director only used it for like public appearances. He was not by any means the superhero that they made him out to be, but they would shoot him up before he would give like a press conference and then would like lift up the podium with one finger and be like ta-da and spin around like a basketball. But then it got into situations where like they were in the field and he didn't have that serum and he was completely useless.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they're going to do the same thing with like this, with the U.S. Agent or this version of Cap, where it's like it is just a publicity stunt like the original Captain America was. Steve Rogers took the initiative and became Captain America, and what Cap was. He was originally just a show pony. Like,
it wasn't going to be that way, but when the experiment, I don't know if it failed, but like because of the whole incident, they decided to defund that project. Is why that happened.
Josh is thinking now.
Well, it's not really thinking storyline, but I was looking up Wyatt Russell, and he is Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn's son, which is kind of interesting. Kurt Russell is Ego.
Oh.
Ego of the Living Planet.
Maybe maybe it's just the jawline then.
Yeah.
That looks familiar.
So, and his sisters and brother are Kate Hudson and Oliver Hudson, who are also actors. Actresses. Yeah.
Did they de-age him in that? Now we're getting really off topic. Did they de-age him in that movie?
Who? Kurt Russell?
Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
He did when they did the flashback scenes.
Yeah.
When he was meeting.
Yeah.
When he was meeting Chris Pratt's mother. But then when he was like in the
So to answer your question, Joa, you essentially have seen him before. It's de-aged Kurt Russell. He looks pretty similar.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes a little bit more sense.
Gotcha.
From
He
Guardians
looks
of the Galaxy.
weird, clean shaven.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's where you've seen him before or recognized his face. Anyway, so Chase, what did you just say before that happened? We were talking about the super.
I was just wondering if you think they'll go the same way, where he's basically just the new Cap is just a show pony, where they use him to kind of bolster the public's morale rather than him being the Captain America and going out and being an Avenger.
I think that ties nicely into the villain, or at least the first villain. Hopefully, I think they have some Hydra things going on. But anyway, the Flag Smashers.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Because what do you think if people were, getting together and creating like a group? I think a good response to people wanting to, dissolve a government is like propaganda.
Propaganda, yeah, and that's what Cap was. So it's
kind of might be that direction. Like we might see him as just like a figurehead to like kind of like boost people's morale and. So that they think
I do want to ask though, is anyone else getting like serious like villain vibes or like villain in disguise vibes from this Captain America? Like,
yes,
that's what I'm getting from him for some reason. Like,
yes and no.
I see him and I'm like, this guy seems like he's like set up by Hydra or something. Like,
the reason I say yes and no is because again I'm going back to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. where the director was not on the side of really the heroes of that show. He was put there by the government to run S.H.I.E.L.D. as kind of like a shadow government. And nobody really likes shadow governments. But he also wasn't he wasn't evil. He wasn't a bad guy. He just wasn't on the side of the heroes. He was on the side of the government.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Other than Baron Zemo, who is the villain in Civil War?
The Avengers. Well, the government. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they did it before, where the U.S. government was kind of like the bad guy, or it was the United Nations that
it was the UN or whatever.
Whatever.
Their council.
So I think it could be a similar thing where like, I think they might send in this U.S. agent to take care of Sam if he tries to do something. For the greater good, but against what like the U.S. government wants to do.
So they're using him as like a superhero police.
Yeah, well, he's a military guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's definitely he answers to the U.S. government. So where we've already seen that kind of doesn't work for some of the superheroes.
Yeah.
They didn't want to
Sam was on Cap's side, so
yeah. So I can imagine a scenario where that occurs. So I don't think he's going to be a bad guy per se. Like I think he's a good guy. He's doing what he thinks needs to be done. He's doing what he thinks is right, and and so isn't the government, right? But like they obviously aren't going to agree on everything because essentially Sam is a vigilante.
Yeah.
Under those kind of definitions.
I'm good with that. I like that.
So I was just thinking, as we're kind of getting down to the nitty gritty here, any of you guys know the name of this episode?
Oh, good question. I can get it.
New World Order.
I knew it, but I was wondering.
New World Order, right?
New World Order. Which, do you think that is talking about this new organization that has put Sam or this new Cap in place?
I think it's talking about
Flag Smashers.
Yeah, I think it's talking about the Flag Smashers. I would say.
I don't know, but it was an interesting title.
Well,
choose because I feel like it leaves. Yeah. There's questions in my mind now with that title.
What do the Flag Smashers want, Josh?
I don't know. Do we know?
They want a new world order because they were not a fan. I think Torres talked about it.
They want the superheroes to be gone, right?
No, they're mad at the Avengers for basically bringing back half the people, because when the world fell apart, basically, it stopped being the United States and Great Britain, and it was just all of the countries working together for one purpose of trying to help everybody. But then you look at the world in the current state, whatever, it's, very much individual countries, and there's lots of borders, and there's a lot of restrictions on who can do this and who can do what because of the world governments. So when they want a world where there's none of that, it's one government.
They want to reinstitute the snap. How do you do that?
They don't want to reinstitute the snap. They want to smash flags.
Yeah.
They want
the government system
borders
that was in place when
borders to be gone.
Happened.
Yeah.
No countries, no monarchies, no democracies, just one world government.
Okay.
Yeah.
A Pangea government.
I guess what would be in stark contrast to that then would be the
US
idea
agent?
of the United States having one superhero that is greater than all the others. And it makes me wonder if, in essence, what they're trying to do is, although the trailer has shown the Flag Smashers as being the bad guys, are they maybe kind of like they did with the Skrulls in Captain Marvel? Maybe they have the right idea.
No, the Flag Smashers are bad guys. You don't just go rob banks and beat up a bunch of people on the street.
I don't think they could tell a story where there were no borders.
Yeah.
I don't think they could just, at least not in this present. Like, it's fine when Star Trek does it, because that's like millions of years in the future, and it makes sense in that universe that the Earth is its own, like, has its own government. Like, it's the humans, the human race.
In like the climate this world is in, there would always have to be like, oh, how would this new world order govern itself? Somebody's going to be offended.
How do you think China would feel?
Yeah.
Because, and they have to pander to that. I mean, I think we've touched on it. I don't want to get into it, but like, they have to pander to that market, so they have to do things a certain way. Which is, I don't think they could do the whole world is one government, or like, yeah.
And it's funny though, because like it does kind of portray the idea of the Flag Smashers like as
well, it's a believable thing, right? Because in a way
their ideal is right. It's just their method is drastically wrong. It just shows how humankind can go pretty extreme.
Yeah. I think it shows that, I don't know. I was going to say, they're trying to show it people masquerade as something. So you can get people to back your cause by saying it's one thing. So if you're saying, hey, we're looking for a new world order, we want, no borders, no governments, whatever, people are going to say, yay, and then you can kind of use that to gain power yourself by saying, hey, I have all these people who are willing to listen to me now. Everyone show up here and wear a mask. Oh, whoops, I robbed a bank with a mask on. Gonna have a hard time figuring out which one's me now, isn't it? I don't know. Like,
that is definitely an issue.
Or like, let's abolish this capitalist government. Okay. Yeah. In order to do that, we're gonna rob this bank.
In order to do that, we're gonna need somebody to, govern all these people who are gonna break down this capitalist government. I vote me.
That wasn't a bank, was it?
That was definitely a bank.
Because he came out with bags of money, right?
I don't know if that was necessarily money, because I thought it was a capital, or like not a capital, emissary. I thought, because it had all sorts of different flags on the front. I thought
it might have been.
What would they steal from an embassy that fits in 2 duffel bags, though?
Documents.
Like incriminating documents.
I guess I don't know what goes on inside an embassy that they would have 2 duffel bags of incriminating evidence.
I really thought it was an embassy. It could have been a bank. They could have been funding weapons for themselves. I don't know. But I really thought it was not a bank. For some reason. I'm trying to check real quick.
Yeah, I don't know. Also, I feel like with an embassy, they'd probably have an internal security force where they wouldn't need the police to be racing into it. They'd be racing out of it, trying to catch the guy. But whereas most banks don't have a security guard in there, they rely on the police. You basically just say, "Hey, take the money and go away," and then we'll call the police once you leave. So.
Oh, yep, it was a Swedish bank. You're
Yeah.
right. It says bank on the front. I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
All right.
So.
Anything else?
Looking forward to next week. Just give me more Bucky.
What did Bucky give to the old man? Do we know? Was it just money for the meal, or do you think he gave him a note?
It was just money. He chickened out once he got there.
Yeah.
Okay. You think he was going to tell him in person?
He was absolutely
like the
going to.
socially
That's why
awkward
that's why he left that date in such a hurry, is because you can tell that the guilt was weighing on him real heavy. And then he got there and saw the shrine and realized that this man is his friend, and it would be heartbreaking to him to not only find out, hey, this man killed my son, but now, like, how am I supposed to look at him in the face ever again? And so he would lose his son and somebody who he's basically treating as his son. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see what they do with that storyline. I hope that they don't just use that as a throwaway. I hope that has deeper connections, but
it's funny because I do, for all the like stuff we were saying, like how much we preferred Bucky's storyline, like I do enjoy the family aspect that they have with Sam.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think both sides have that like same thing. They're having some sort of personal struggle that they're going through, and this whole buddy cop relationship kind of thing that's going to happen with the next episodes is going to help each of them kind of work those out. You know, maybe not like together, like they're both working for it intentionally, but it's like they're talking about their problems or whatever, and it's like, oh, that gives me an idea as to what I could do. Like, I got sappy there for a second. I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm looking forward to the series, though.
Yeah, it seems to be like it's going to be something fun. All
Bucky's therapist is definitely a bad guy, too.
Oh, certainly.
Find me one show where the therapist is not a bad guy.
Find me one example in anywhere where the therapist is as passive aggressive.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Like, that's not a therapist.
Okay.
That is...
I think that's a trope, but not an accurate one to real life. I think there's a lot of passive aggressive therapists in TV shows and movies.
Yeah.
But I don't think therapists in real life have like the
sass.
Oh, you're pulling out the notepad again.
ability,
All right.
Joey, you stole my closing words. Dang it.
I'm sorry.
Oh, the therapist in Lost that okays Ana Lucia to be a cop again. She was a good guy. She was trying to stop Ana Lucia from murdering people.
You guys and your Lost. Everything ties back to Lost.
I'm rewatching Lost. I also hate Ana Lucia. She's my least favorite character.
All right. Well, that I think wraps up episode 1 and our thoughts on it. We'd love to hear what you thought about episode 1. What are you looking forward to? What do you hope you see in this series? Let us know in the comments section. Be sure to subscribe. We recently looked at our analytics and realized that 75% of our watchers are not subscribed to our channel. So subscribe. It would really help us out. So yeah, and next week we're going to be talking about at 7 o'clock on Monday, episode 2. So make sure if you're a fan of the series or you're a fan of us, tune in. We'd love to have your feedback in our chat room or whatever they call that. Yeah. So thanks for watching, and until next time, world's a crazy place right now. People are well. Nobody's stable.
Joe stole my I was gonna say Joe stole my last line. I've got nothing.
Stuff.
How dare you, Joe? Get out.
Sorry.